Now, Heisenberg uncertainty principle. This is one of the principle given by Heisenberg, and this principle also cannot explain by the Bohr's model of atom, and that is also one of the drawback of Bohr's atomic model. Bohr's theory cannot explain about the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. Now, what is this Heisenberg uncertainty principle? First time the statement, according to this principle, it is impossible to determine the exact position and exact velocity of a moving microparticle at the same time. According to this principle, it is impossible to determine the exact position and exact velocity of a moving microparticle at the same time. That means, suppose this is your nucleus and these are the orbits as explained by Bohr. First orbit, second orbit, third orbit, where the electrons are revolving around the nucleus. Now, Bohr explained about the position of the electron. Bohr explained about the velocity of the electron also. Already you have got how to determine the velocity of the electron present in different orbits. So, Bohr determined the exact position of the electron. Bohr determined the exact velocity of the electron also. But according to Heisenberg, it is not possible to find out the exact position and exact velocity at the same time. So, which was determined by Bohr, and that's why Bohr's theory cannot explain by cannot explain this Heisenberg uncertainty principle. Now, why it is not possible to determine the exact position and exact velocity of a moving microparticle at the same time? When a microparticle is moving, if you want to find out the exact position, you can find out the exact position, but at that same time, if you want to find out the velocity of the electron, your velocity will be uncertain. Similarly, if you find out the velocity exactly, then the position of the electron will be uncertain, and that's why the principle is called uncertainty principle, Heisenberg uncertainty principle. If you determine one, another one will be uncertain. Now, why it is uncertain? Because since electrons are microparticle, when microparticle is moving, the position and the velocity of the microparticle continuously going on changing. Why? Because when it moves, it collides with other particles, and due to this collision, the position, the velocity, everything going on changing continuously. And that is why when you determine the position exactly at that time, the velocity may be changed. That is why if you find out position exactly, your velocity will be uncertain. Similarly, when you determine velocity exactly, at that time, the position may be changed. That's why position you cannot find out exactly. And that's why this principle is called uncertainty principle. And according to Heisenberg, if delta x represent the uncertainty in position and delta v represent the uncertainty in velocity, then according to Heisenberg uncertainty principle, you can write delta x into m delta v is greater than or equal h by 4 pi. You can write twice pi also. In some book you will get twice pi, in some book you will get 4 pi also. Anyone you can write. And when you do the numerical from this equation, don't write greater than sign, you put equal sign. So delta x is the uncertainty in position, m is the mass of particle, delta v is the uncertainty in velocity, and which is greater than or equal h by 4 pi. H is Planck constant, pi value you know 3.14. This equation you can write like this way also, delta x into delta p, because mass into velocity means momentum, so uncertainty in momentum you can write is greater than equal h by 4 pi. This equation was given by your Heisenberg. So when you determine position exactly, velocity will be uncertain. When you determine velocity exactly, your position will be uncertain, and that's why the principle is called uncertainty principle. Now, what is the significance of this principle? What is the significance of Heisenberg uncertainty principle? If you want to write significance, this principle is applicable only for microparticle. This is not applicable for macroparticle, because when a microparticle is moving, then the position and velocity may be changing continuously due to collide with photon. But if the particle is macroparticle, then this principle is not applicable. Suppose a bus is moving on the road, bus is the macro one. So when a bus is moving on the road, you can find out the position and velocity at a time, because it is macro particle. So for that type of substance, this Heisenberg uncertainty principle is not applicable. So Heisenberg uncertainty principle is applicable only for micro particle only, I mean for small particle. Now, by applying this principle, you can prove something. What you can prove? As you know, the nucleus is present at the center of the atom, and the electrons are revolving around the nucleus in certain orbits. Now, why electron does not exist inside the nucleus? As you know, electrons are negatively charged and nucleus is positive. Negative always attract the positive, so the electron should enter inside the nucleus. But electron never exists inside the nucleus. You can prove it. Why electron does not exist inside the nucleus? You can prove it by applying Heisenberg uncertainty principle. According to Heisenberg, delta x m delta v is equal h by 4 pi. Do you know what is the size of nucleus? The size of nucleus is 10 to the power minus 15 meter. So if the electron is present inside the nucleus, then the uncertainty in position will be 10 to the power minus 15 meter. I mean, inside the nucleus, if the electron is present, then the position uncertainty will be 10 to the power minus 15 meter. And if you consider 10 to the power minus 15 meter, mass of electron you know 9.1 into 10 to the power minus 31 kg. You can find out delta V. H value you know 6.626 10 to the power minus 34 joule second. 4 pi value you know 3.14. Then you can find out the delta V. When you determine delta V, you will get this type of value 5.7 into 10 to the power 10 meter per second. This to the power value you will get. And as you know, what is the velocity of light? Velocity of light is 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. But here you have got velocity which is more than the speed of light, and which is not possible for an electron, because the velocity always should be less than the speed of light. And that is why the electron should not be present inside the nucleus. If you consider the electron outside of nucleus, I mean if you change the delta x position outside of 10 to the minus 15, automatically the velocity comes below 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. And that is why electron does not exist inside the nucleus. Thank you.